is a channeled message from your higher self about finding the answers to solutions that you have been seeking. So you're going to want to save this message so you can come back in the future. When I went into your energy field, I saw Esmeralda, and if you've seen the movie Hunchback of Notre Dame, she's a character, and she also holds the enchantress archetype. And she said, "Come with me and you'll see," and she was pulling us by some scarves. She was beckoning us to come with her. So she took us to a tent, and we went inside, and all of the walls were covered with these really beautifully colored tapestries. She said, "Have a seat." So all of us were sitting on the floor on these cushions, and she placed a crystal ball in both of our hands. Not both hands, but a crystal ball for you and then a crystal ball for me. And she said, "These will connect you to the realm of knowing." Then you and I were transported into this room that was full of smoke and mirrors. Think about if you were at a carnival or a state fair. And your higher self said you've been seeking a solution or an answer that you have yet to find. That is the symbolism of the room of smoke and mirrors. So you and I are walking around and we hear this noise and it's like tee hee hee hee. And you said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, it sounds like somebody laughing." And then we saw this sprite that was flying around in the room. So sprites are kind of like fairies, but they have a little bit more of jestery energy. And we said, "Oh, hello, who are you?" And the sprite said, "I'm a part of your subconscious." Now again, a little bit of trickster energy here, which is a representator of our ego mind. He looked at the sprite and said, "Why are you playing around in here?" Basically, why did you create this smoke and mirrors? And the sprite said, "What do you mean?" And you said, "Why are you making it hard for me to see all the smoke and mirrors?" And then y'all were just blinking at one another and nobody was saying anything. And then you said, "Oh, wait a minute. You are a part of me, the sprite. Actually, all of this is me." Esmeralda, the tent that we went into, the crystal ball, the smoke and mirrors, the sprite. You looked around and said, "What would help me see with more clarity?" And you said, "Oh, an instruction manual," almost like you would be building furniture. So you pulled one out and we're looking at it. I said, "You know what? That sounds a lot better than going through this maze that we're in. However, you're still having to do something in order to see, like go through all of these schematics." It's just another flavor of the smoke and mirrors that we were just in. And you said, "Okay, actually, I need to identify as someone who always has the solution." And I said, "That's even better. Okay. However, always having a solution is denoting that you always have a problem." Like there's always some type of challenge or obstacle that we got to get through. You said, "Oh, I need to identify as someone who always has a clear path in front of me." And when you said this, everything disappeared. It was you and me in the ethers, and we were at complete peace. Absolute silence in the stillness, no challenges or obstacles to work through. And you looked at me and said, "I really love this feeling." And that came through saying, I always have a clear path in front of me. I would love to hear in the comments if any of the symbolism was a synchronicity for you, like Esmeralda, the colorful tent, the crystal ball, smoke and mirrors, an instruction manual, or feeling at complete peace being in the ethers.